I really haven't had very many people ask me what I regret about my life when I was younger, but the truth is, most of the time when you're kind of pinned down on that, you don't really think about things that you maybe do regret. One of the things that I regret is that when I was younger, I played fast and loose with the truth a lot more than I do today. And that's not really why, but that's something that made me acutely aware of why truth matters. And that's what we're going to talk about today on the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host, I'm Kurt, and today is Thursday, the 13th of January of 2022. Welcome to everyone who's here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube, on BitChute, on CloutHub, on mindsminds.com if you happen to be viewing me there, which is probably not the case. But welcome anyway, regardless where you're coming from. Remember that Rumble is my preferred platform, though actually it turns out I'm doing maybe a little better on BitChute and CloutHub these days. So maybe I'll change that as time goes on. We'll just have to see how that works out. All of that said, the subject for today is why truth matters, and I'm going to go through my notes to explain to you sort of what brought me to the subject that I'm doing today, and then from there we'll go ahead and have our normal conversation afterwards. I try to be as accurate as I can with pretty much everything I say. The result is I'm prone to shut my mouth where many subjects are concerned. One of the most important reasons for doing what I do, where that is the case, is that I don't have the least desire to put falsehoods out there for others to hear or see, even if I don't have a huge audience. By the way, if anyone has something to say in opposition to anything I put out there, I really want to hear it. That doesn't mean I want, quote, fact checkers, end of quote, to tell me how wrong I am, since they have been seen so many times twisting what the folks they're fact checking have to say to chime in. I don't really want fact checkers. Sorry, not interested. You want to fact check me, tell me that I'm wrong? Great. Then we can discuss it, and that's fine. But I want to interact with real people. What I wanted to talk about today, though, is people in powerful, influential, and popular positions peddling lies. Sometimes it's on purpose, and sometimes it's accidental. I get that. Sometimes they're just confused, whatever. I get that, too. Sometimes I'm confused and get things wrong as well. And I have to own up to that. That's important because those folks tend to have large audiences who often hang on their every word. So when I hear statements out of the Supreme Court where the people speaking are justices, and their statements are so out of line with reality, it astounds me. What actually amazed me more, that the individuals in question often do not ever respond, most importantly, retract the valid rebukes, the statements made where others posit valid rebukes based on their statements. They don't retract those statements, and they don't respond in any way a lot of times. And if they do respond, it's almost always to defend themselves from the mean people who took the time to attempt, often in vain, to clear the air. And they're right, those people clearing the air a lot of times. Not always. I'm not saying they're always right. I'm just saying you need to own the fact that you made a mistake and deal with it. I can state for the record, I haven't heard even the least peep where that's concerned from the individual who brought this on. If you have such a video or written statement or whatever, by all means, let me know it exists. And preferably link to it. And I'll make it my business to indicate such is the case. I'll literally take time out of my next podcast to say, hey, I wanted to make sure that you knew that this individual made clear that they had made a serious mistake. What makes all of this worse is when the media and folks in government stick up for the errant person. In the case that caused me to consider discussing things, to be fair, the falsehoods were so egregious that even the mainstream media felt the need to question what was said. Rightly so, they were correct. For that, I have to applaud them. I have to, good work, congratulations, good work. After all, it's a lot better to have them respond reasonably than to act as they usually do by trying to cover for the person throwing ridiculous fallacies and non-facts out there. In the long run, though, the problem is the damage is done to a large extent. Why? Because most folks aren't looking for a retraction or correction. They heard the original statement and it gets cemented in their collective head. For this reason, if no other, truth matters, particularly for people in positions of notoriety, when statements are made that are obviously false. And we know that the result can be devastating. So for this reason, truth matters. It matters. And that's what you need to be aware of. A large portion of the populace will allow themselves to be done badly by as a result of people putting stuff out there, and the stuff that they put out there is not correct. I'm sure you heard a justice on the Supreme Court, I won't get into details, who basically said there were hundreds of thousands of children in hospitals and so forth and on respirators and, in bad condition as a result of the COVID-19 crisis. Now, even the mainstream media had to own up and say that's not even close to true. Dan Bongino put it this way. He said basically of 100,000, the individual would be 93,000 or so off. It's really more than that. The point I'm making here is very simple, right? It is, if you are a person in a position of power, authority, fame, whatever, and you get out there and spit out a whole bunch of stuff that's just not true, even if you go back and correct yourself later on, lots of times the damage is done. The damage is done because there are a lot of people out there, they're not looking for correction. They're not looking, like I say, for you to retract or for you to admit to your folly or your incorrectness. And this is why, like I say, looking back in my own life, I go, gosh, I'm really sad that I was willing to play more fast and loose with the truth. It means that there are some people out there who probably have every reason to not trust me. And all I can do is try and make my word my bond, make my word gold. And if I fail to do that, again, I want people to tell me. I don't want to live in this fantasy land where because it looks like I'm smart or whatever, or I get out there and I do a podcast or whatever, that people just assume that I'm correct. I agree with the Dan Bongino school on this, and of course he's not the first, he's not alone, and I'm not trying to say that, but the basic school is, if it comes out of my mouth, you have not just the right to question what I say, you have the responsibility to question what I say. And further, if it comes out of my mouth and it's wrong, I want you to tell me so. I want you to tell me that, because it's, how am I going to be corrected if other people don't tell me? Well, maybe I'll see it somewhere, granted, and have to go and say. So yesterday, for some reason, my TV that my son watches, decided that it was going to misbehave. It was actually a particular application on a smart TV that it looks like did the misbehaving. But I thought he'd done something that messed up the TV, and what I found out was that wasn't what happened. Well, I accused him before I found that out. So I had to apologize. But I got to tell you, the damage in some senses was already done. And I still apologized. I still said, gee, I'm sorry. I thought you had done that. You didn't. I see that I'm wrong. He asked, well, who did? And I said, I don't really know. I don't really know what happened. But I'm pretty sure that he didn't do it, and I had to apologize. And that is what the very minimum you must do. But again, I want people, when they look at what I have to say, and I want them to look at what others have to say as well, to take everything with a grain of salt, to think about it, to say, wait a second, that can't be right, to do their own research and to figure out what is and isn't correct. The thing is, the reason truth matters, and best of all on the first iteration of something, the reason truth matters is because if you don't tell the truth, there are a lot of people out there that will pick up on the lie, and if you're somebody that they believe, they will continue to do that as time goes on. All right, I need to go and wrap things up. This is the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host, I'm Kurt, and today is Thursday, the 13th of January of 2022. That means tomorrow will be Friday, the beginning of the Sabbath for those who observe the Sabbath. Starting sundown tomorrow, Friday the 14th of January 2022. Thank you. Welcome again. But thank you for everyone who's been here on Rumble, on the podcast, on YouTube, on BitChute, on CloutHub. And if you happen to find me on minds.com, MINDS, or wherever else you happen to find me, thank you for coming along and checking in on me today, listening to what nonsense I have to spew. But anyway, thank you for coming along. Rumble is my preferred platform at the moment. You can give me a boxing glove on Rumble as a Rumble. You can give me a plus or a minus. That is a positive or a negative feedback on Rumble. You can also give me a positive or a negative feedback, blah, 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 anywhere else I happen to put content, obviously. And so I'd love it if you would do that. If you feel that there's something that I've said that you think is worth commenting on, whether you think I'm a crackpot, whether you think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, which I very much doubt very many people do. But that having been said, or you just want to kind of comment and either agree or disagree or whatever, just say thanks for putting this out there, whatever. I would love it if you do that. If I'm notified of those comments, I will make sure that I look in on what people have had to say. And if I feel it's a good thing to do, I will try to respond to that. Today we've been talking on why truth matters, and tomorrow the subject is one that I think a lot of people forget about humanity, and that is that we're pretty much all, and the subject is broken. We're all broken, and I want to talk about that a little bit, and I want to make some distinctions that I think are important where that's concerned. All right. I hope you're having a good day today. I hope everything is going well for you. I hope your year is trucking along and moving in positive directions. Hope you're having a good work week if you're working at this point. Thank you for coming along today again, and I hope that I will see you again on Friday's edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video was recorded on Thursday, January the 13th of 2022. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that, and you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.